students. I am Vidya Obrapanwar, lecturer in Electronics and Communication Department of SJPN Trust Polytechnic, Nirsoshi. So in this video, I am going to discuss about the important questions of Unit 6 for the subject Industrial Automation. The name of this chapter is DCS and SCADA system. Now this unit is for 20 marks. So for part A, 5 marks 2 questions, and for part B 10 mark 1 question. So let us start with the important questions related with this chapter. So generally one basic definition is always asked about the SCADA. So this SCADA we define, or SCADA stands for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition. It is an industrial computer based control system used to gather and analyze the real time data to keep in track, monitor and control industrial equipments in different types of industries. So when we consider different types of processes in the industries, these processes are to be controlled. So there are different methods to control these processes. One thing we have to keep it in mind, that if the industries are located in a vast area, that time different units are situated or they are located at far away places from the control unit. So at that time, in order to control the different control processes in different units of such large industries, we require some control systems, and overall control system we call it as industrial control system. So SCADA is one type of control system. Next question, which is asked repeatedly, this question is repeatedly asked, is the question for 5 marks, that is, mention the features of SCADA. So we have to list it out, only the features of SCADA, because this question will be for 5 marks. No explanation is required. So we will list out the important features of SCADA. So following are the features of SCADA system which are used for illustrating or explaining the working of SCADA. The working procedure of SCADA system can be illustrated with the below features. So data acquisition, data communication, information or data presentation. So first step is data acquisition, then data communication, then information data presentation, then monitoring or controlling, then programming. So all these features. So how many features we have discussed? Data acquisition, data communication, information or data presentation, monitoring or control, and then programming. So these functions are performed by different types of sensors, then remote terminal units, controller, programming and communication network. So as I told that if the industries are very large, that time different units are at different places far away from the control room. So there should be a control unit, and this control unit is communicating with the different subsections of the industries. So we can say that there should be sensors, remote terminal units. Remote terminal units means that these are placed in different sections of the main industry. Or suppose if we consider a cement industry, so there will be one control room and the different processes related with this cement, that is packaging, then there will be grinding and mixing, so many processes takes place. So all these processes control will are situated at different places, little bit far from the main central or the control room. So there should be communication between the different units with the main control room. So the function performed by the sensors, RTUs, controller, programming and communication networks are done in the SCADA system. The sensors are used to collect the important information. So physical quantities are to be converted into electrical quantities, then only the machine will understand. So the sensors are used to collect the important information which will be converted into electrical form, and then the RTUs are used to send this information to the controller, and in the control room or in the main controller, the display the status of the system. Suppose 2 units are there in a industry, then the status of the 2 units will be displayed in the control room. So according to the status of the system, the user can give command to other system components. So this operation is done by the programming and processed through a communication network. Communication network is used to carry the information, give the signals to the remote terminal units, take the signals from those units. So in detail, if the question is asked, then we have to go with the explanation. What is meant by data acquisition, what is data communication, then what is information data presentation. If the question is asked for 10 marks, then we will go with this explanation. First step in case of SCADA is the data acquisition. So real-time system consists of thousands of components and sensors. It is very important to know the status of particular component and the sensor. So this we call it as a data acquisition. Then data communication. So the SCADA system uses wired network to communicate between the user and the devices. So wired communication is used. The real-time application use lots of sensors and components which should be controlled remotely, because control room and the different places related with the industries are not nearby. They will be at a far distance, little bit far distance or far distance. So for that purpose communication is required. So wired communication network is used. Then information and data presentation. The normal circuit networks have some indicators which can be visible to the control, but in the real time SCADA system, so the computers will be there will be some indications, and these are placed in one main control room. These are thousands of sensors and alarm which are impossible to be handled simultaneously. The SCADA system uses human machine interface, that is HMI, to provide all the information gathered from the various sensors. Sensors will convert the physical signal into electrical form, and here we are using the human machine interface so that the machine will understand the status of different devices. Then the next step is monitoring and control. So the SCADA system uses different switches to operate each device and display the status of the control area. So control is achieved by on-off switching. So the different types of switches are used for controlling the processes or monitor different processes. Any part of the process can be turned on or it can be turned off from the control station using these switches. So by using on off control, the control process is taking place. always the process control is achieved by on-off control of the switches. Then the next step is the programming. So SCADA programming in a master or HMI is used for creating maps and diagrams which will give an important situational information in case of an event failure or process failure. Actually, this will be a screen, a computer, a display device where we will be understanding what is the status of different units related with that industry. Standard interfaces are used for programming most commercial SCADA system. So this was regarding the SCADA. Next question which is asked frequently is about explain the working of HMI with sketch. So rough sketches we can draw because we will get it difficult to draw the diagrams of the book. So HMI stands for human machine interface, and it is a kind of interaction which is the property of several devices which can be designed in such a way that they are capable of handling human to machine as well as machine to human interaction with almost ease or well as reality. Now we are using the mobiles here also. When we use the touch screen mobiles, it is a type of human machine interface. A human machine interface basically is a well structured combination of hardware and software components which enables all users to provide inputs which later on gets converted into signal by the machines. So the human machine interface will convert the physical senses or the physical quantities into the electrical signal. Further, these signals are processed by the machine and desired outputs are provided to the users. We can often see this that human machine interface can be put into use across several different industries such as military, healthcare, electronics, entertainment, aviation and much more. Now we have seen different equipments, gadgets used in medical where by taking the different parameters, by sensing different parameters of the body, electrical signals are generated which will be useful for diagnosing of different diseases. So here we consider the interfacing is done between human beings and the machines. There are several other names for this human machine interface such as computer human interface, man machine interface or human computer interface and so on. So this is the diagram of human with the machine. So how the interface between the human beings and machine takes place can be seen from this diagram. So after observing this diagram, we see that human being are connected with the machines. So sensing organs of human beings can also be used for this type of interfacing. So we observe that in the diagram that human beings senses, after sensing sensors are there and actuators are there. One thing here we have to make it clear that sensors are the input devices, actuators are the output devices. So we will understand the working of this images. The human machine interface provides all users with the power to control as well as operate a system, instrument or machine with artificial intelligence. So here artificial intelligence will be used, playing a very important role. In fact, there are several high-end and sophisticated HMI systems which are capable of lending assistance to users across several different areas of applications, including CNC centers, medical, diagnostic, high-speed diagnostic centers, high-speed bullet trains, lab equipments, and semiconductor equipments. In simple words, we can explain HMI is capable of making all the crucial elements into virtual interaction that an end user is capable of hearing, touching, watching and using for the purpose of performing several different kinds of control functions and for receiving feedbacks on all these actuators and the functions, actions and functions. So, by observing this block diagram, we can see that there is communication between humans and the devices. And here in the first diagram we see that the human will understand what action is taking place, and this interaction is collected by the device, and the device process will be displayed. So, process can be again understood by the second diagram also. Next question which is asked is explain the block diagram of DCS system. So, the block diagram of DCS system I have drawn in the second slide, and this the block diagram consists of different levels of the operation. So, there are 4 levels of operation, that is level 0, level 1, level 2, level 3 and level 4. So, let us see the block diagram. So, we observe that level 0 is the production scheduling, level 1 is production scheduling, level 2, level 3 and level 4. So, here we can see the connection between the computer center and the plant. DCS stands for data control system, and it is one of the most popular way which is specially designed with redundancy capability to improve the control performance of the industries. This DCS system gives more flexibility to control distributed discrete field devices and its operating stations. As I told you that if the industry is to be controlled and if the units are at different places, then we can go with this type of also control system, that is the DCS. So, DCS stands for discrete control system, data control system. DCS stands for data control system. So, diagram is shown which consists of 5 states, that is level 0, level 1, level 2, level 3 and level 4. So, let us understand the operation. So, at level 0 it contains the field devices such as flow and temperature sensors and final control elements such as control valves. Then at level 1 it contains the industrialized input output, that is the IO modules, and then their associated distributed electronic processors. Then the level 2 contains the supervisory computers which collect information from processor, then different nodes on the system, and provide the operator control screens. The level third is the production control level, which does not directly control the process but is concerned with monitoring production and monitoring targets. Level 4 is the production scheduling level. Now here the basic level is the plant level, then it will be the level 1 which contains IO modules. Then the next level, that is the level 2, contains supervisory computers which collect information from the processor and different nodes in the system and provide the operator the control screens. Now if the industry is bigger, the levels goes on increasing. Now in this type of control, the data is collected from different units. Suppose one industry is there, then in this industry the main thing is that whatever production is done, before the production is done, the system or the working people has to understand what is the demand, where there is more demand. So they have to understand about the market. So as the size of industries goes on increasing, then the levels of this control system is increased. So if a single lathe machine is present, then the level of control will be the 0 level. So here only one machine control is required, and as the system goes on becoming more sophisticated, then the control level goes on increasing. Finally, if the plant is more sophisticated, more advanced, that time all the parameters are studied by the main computer, and according to that the control process takes place. So that final level, that is level 4, is the level where production is scheduled. So this was all with respect to the block diagram of the DCS system. But in some cases the question is asked as explain the hierarchical architecture of DCS. So that time we have to draw this triangular diagram. So this triangular diagram, again here we know that there are 5 levels from 0 to 4. So we have stated here the function of different levels, that is from 0 to 4. So at the basic level, that is level 0, is the machine level. So for example, at this machine level, if lathe machine control, such as moving the cutter through its path manually, then this level of control is the 0 level. Suppose the cutter we are adjusting manually, then the control achieved is the 0 level control. Then if again some more machines are there, more controls are there, then the level of the DCS control goes on increasing. So at level 1 is the electrical level and other related controls. So level 1 is again subdivided into 3 sub levels. They are level 1A, level 1B and level 1C. So depending upon the industries, these levels are present. So in level 1A, in this level, such as the operation of lathe is controlled by the electronic computer based. Such a control for automatic feed rate for cutting the metal would be in this level. So if a control is achieved by the computer, then it comes under the level 1A. In level 1B is reached when controls are programmed for machining more than one part. So in level 1A, there we were considering only one process. In level 1B, if more than one part are to be controlled by programming machine, then it is a level 1B control. The control pattern for such part is called as is obtained from a master control. The master control is the pre-programmed for each part. So what, suppose a part is to be manufactured, then the design of that part is stored, and in such case the control is level 1B control. In level 1C, in this type of control, machining patterns for many different parts can be stored and recalled as needed. If it is one part only, then it is 1B. If more than one or two parts is there, then it will be 1C level. So when a parts of machining program is first used, each step and motion is recorded in the memory. The next time when same part is to be machined, then the parts of machining program is recalled from the memory, and due to this recalling procedure, it will save redoing the same processes for the same part. So this will save the time for manufacturing. Then comes the level 2. So at level 2, which is based on networking, it involves connecting the control of two or more individual machines. Till the first level, it was single machine. Now if connecting more than one individual machines, and if these devices work together, then it comes under level 2. So in many manufacturing operations, more than two devices are coordinated, which is controlled by a master controller. So such group of machines and devices are called as work cells. Then comes the third level of the control system. So in level 3, which involves number of work cells hooked upon a master coordinating automatic computer control. So at level 3, number of work cells will be connected to the automatic computer control. So this master computer carries out the scheduling part manufacturing in a given work cell for maximum machine utilization, and thus a single master control machine will control number of individual cells. Then comes the level 4. So at level 4, this is the last level of hierarchical architecture. So at level 4, it gets into the area of artificial intelligence. So at a high cost. So level 4 architecture will require a more cost, because here we are using the artificial intelligence. So in this level, analysis has to be made to determine whether people can make the same prediction at lower cost and with comparable accuracy. So comparison with different manufacturing can be done. One result of proper use of level 4 would be reduced finished material inventory if cells and productions are matched properly. That only I told previously. First, the survey of market is done. What is the need of that product in the market? What are the other manufacturer and what is the cost they are offering? So all this survey is done at the level 4 of this control, where artificial intelligence will be used. And after understanding, then the manufacturing will be done, and as a result it would provide timely availability of the product for prompt delivery. Other considerations such as time to buy the raw material at lowest cost can also be understood at this level. So this is regarding the hierarchical architecture of the DCS system. So this question is a repeated question, and the explanation I have gone with the diagram, and these are the slides which shows the explanation or the answer. Next question, this is also a repeated question. So the question is, write the advantages of DCS. So this question is asked for 5 marks. So repeatedly asked question. So we will list out only the advantages of the DCS system. So the main advantages of data control systems are, it will manage any block from any computer on the network, then control precision, system coordination, diversity analysis system, load tracking, everything is possible. Then monitoring and maintenance of the data. Processes are fast, speed of the processes, high efficiency and better performance. Automatic document generation, data will be available timely. Reliance on technology, new technology will be used and we depend on the technology. Then accuracy is achieved and fraud is not, risk of fraud is not there. So this is all regarding with the advantages of DCS system. Now we will discuss about the next question, that is applications of DCS. DCS stands for discrete control system. So here again the question will be asked for 5 marks. So we have to list out what are the important application of DCS. DCS is used throughout various industries including manufacturing plants, vending machines, food and beverages, pharmaceuticals and utilities, and so on. So the applications of DCS is wide. It is used in many industries. So we will list out some of the important application. The DCS allows for supervisory control and data acquisition in the entire system. In metal manufacturing, DCS might control how metal is cut and folded and how fast to do it. A DCS system offers improved stock control and replenishment. So the fewer journeys are required out to the vendors. DCS is used in bottling processes to control all aspects of the manufacturing line, such as speed, efficiency, error detection and error correction. Utility companies may use DCS to monitor water distribution and waste water treatment. So these are some of the important applications of the DCS system. The next question which is asked repeatedly is about the explanation of the SCADA system. So the question is asked, explain the fourth generation of the SCADA system. So the SCADA is divided into different types depending upon the development or types of architecture. So those are first generation monolithic or early SCADA system. Second generation is the distributed SCADA system, that is the DCS. Third generation is the networked SCADA system, and the fourth generation is the Internet of Things technology, that is IoT SCADA system. So the fourth generation Internet of Things. In fourth generation, the infrastructure cost of the SCADA system is reduced by adopting the Internet of Things technology with the commercially available cloud computing. The maintenance and integration is also very easy for the fourth generation compared to the earlier SCADA system. I told already that there are 4 generations of the SCADA system architecture. Nowadays, we are dealing with the Internet of Things technology, that is IoT based. The SCADA system are able to report state in real time by using the horizontal scale from the cloud computing facility. Thus, more complex control algorithms can be implemented which are practically sufficient to implement on traditional PLC. The security risk in case of decentralized SCADA implementations such as heterogeneous mix of proprietary network protocols can be surpassed during the open network protocols such as TLNs inherent in the Internet of Things, which will provide comprehensible and manageable security boundary. So, this is regarding the Internet of Things, that is the 4th generation of the SCADA. Next question again will be asked for 5 marks, that is what are the advantages of SCADA. So, that time we are going to mention only the advantages of the SCADA. The SCADA system provides onboard mechanical and graphical information. The SCADA system is easily expandable. We can add set of control units and sensor according to the requirement. The SCADA system ability to operate critical situation is also very important. Next question, which is again asked for 5 marks, is the list the applications of SCADA. So, we will list out what are the applications of SCADA. So, SCADA systems are used for monitoring a variety of data like flows, currents, voltages, pressures, temperature, water level and etc. in various industries. If the system detects any abnormal conditions from any monitoring data, then the alarms at the central or remote sites will be triggered for alerting the operators through HMI, that is human machine interface. There are numerous applications of SCADA system, but we can list out a few. So, SCADA is used in manufacturing industries. It is used in wastewater treatment and distribution plants. SCADA is used in power systems such as power generation, transmission and distribution. These are used in public buildings like electrical heating and cooling system. This SCADA can be used for generators and turbines. It can also be used for traffic light control system. So, these were the some of the applications of SCADA. Now, apart from the chapter, I want to discuss here some of the important points with respect to the different control systems, SCADA and the DCS. So, what is industrial control system? What are the different types of industrial control system that we have seen in the chapter? So, industrial control system is a general term that has several types of control system, including supervisory control and data acquisition, that is SCADA system. Then second is distributed control system, that is DCS system. Then other smaller control system configuration such as skid mounted programmable logic controllers, that is PLC. Let us define what is SCADA. So, SCADA stands for Supervisory Control Data Acquisition. Is a system that is used for monitoring, analyzing and controlling an industrial process. A SCADA system is capable of real-time monitoring and management of physical asset dispersed over very large geographical area. Suppose if any industry covers a wide geographical area So in order to control different units which are located at different places, then this system is very useful. So this diagram shows how the SCADA is useful. So here we can see that there is a communication network which is connected to the SCADA master. Generally this SCADA will have hardware and software. So here SCADA master is one type of computer which is connected with the human machine interface. So sensors will be there which will be connected through the human being to the machine. So HMI will be used, and there are different RTUs. So RTUs are nothing but these are remote terminal units. Again these can be the computers which will be connected with the sensors. So whatever data is acquired from these RTUs will be communicated with the SCADA master. The communication will be two-way, and the SCADA master will give the signals according to the requirement. So this diagram indicates the block for a SCADA system general layout. So what are the different functions the SCADA system perform? That is, first function is data acquisition, then network data communication, then data presentation and the control. And the components of SCADA are a telemetry system which is typically used to connect PLCs and RTUs with control centers, data warehouses and the media. Used in SCADA systems include leased telephone lines for communication. So telephone lines and WAN circuits. Examples of wireless telemetry media used in SCADA systems include cellular and microwave and other communication medium for communication between the RTUs and the main computer or main control unit. A data acquisition server is protocols to conduct software services via telemetry with the field devices such as RTUs and the PLCs. It allows clients to access data from these field devices using standard protocols. Protocols are very important. A human machine interface or HMI is the apparatus or device which presents processed data to a human operator, and through this the human operator monitors and interacts with the process. The HMI is a client that requests data from the server. Next, historian is a software service which accumulates time stamped data, Boolean events and Boolean alarms in a database which can be used to populate graphic trends in the HMI. The historian is a client that requests data from a data acquisition server. A supervision computer system which is used to gather or acquire data on the process and sending commands to the SCADA system. Communication infrastructure connecting the supervisory system to the remote terminal units are present. So various processes and analytical instrumentation is used. Explain the concept of HMI and MMI. Human machine interface is a kind of interaction which is a property of several devices which are designed in such a way that they are capable of handling human to machine as well as machine to human interaction with utmost ease as well as reliability. A human machine interface basically is a well structured combination of hardware and software components which combine all users to provide inputs which later on gets converted into signals by these machines. Further, these signals are processed by the machine and desired outputs are provided to the user. We can see this human machine interface to be the part into use access several different industries such as military, healthcare, electronics, entertainment, aviation and so many applications are there. The best example of human machine interface, we can go with the scanners, then we can go with the mobiles, we can go with the devices which are based on touch screen. So there are many examples of this human machine interface and machine machine interface, and these are nowadays has become a part of our daily life. So this question is asked for 5 marks. So this important concepts we have to write about the human machine and machine machine interface. Next question, which is asked for 5 marks as well as for 10 marks. So here this question is combine the concept of hardware and software of SCADA. This question will be asked for 10 marks, but if they are asking only either the hardware or the software, then that question will be for 5 marks. So let us go with the 5 marks question, then you people can combine those questions so that the answer will be for 10 marks. So the question is explain the concept of SCADA hardware. So we have to explain little bit about what is SCADA, and then we will go with the explanation. Generally, SCADA system is a centralized system which monitors and controls entire area. It is a purely software package that is positioned on top of the hardware. A supervisory system gathers data on the process and sends the commands control to the process. The SCADA system allows operation to change the set point for the flow and enable alert conditions in case of the loss of flow and high temperature by software, and the condition is displayed and recorded in the hardware. So basically SCADA is made up of both hardware and software. So first we will discuss about the SCADA hardware. We can see the block diagram. There are different units. Network for communication, that is network LAN is there, then SCADA server is there, then programming device is there, then different communication links are there, and at the end PLCs are placed. So generally the SCADA system can be classified into 2 parts, that is client layer, which is used to cater for the man machine interaction. Then the second layer is data server layer, which handles most of the process of data activity. The SCADA station refers to the servers and it is composed of a single PC. The data servers communicate with the device in the field through process controllers like PLCs or RTOs. RTOs are nothing but these are remote terminal units. The PLCs are connected to the data servers either directly or via networks or buses. These things we can see in the diagram. The SCADA system utilizes WAN and LAN networks. The WAN and LAN consist of internet protocols used for communication between the master station and the devices. The physical equipments like sensors are connected to the PLCs or RTOs. The RTOs convert the sensor signals to digital data and sends digital data to the master. So according to the master feedback received by the RTO, it applies the electrical signal to the relays. Most of the monitoring and control operations are performed by RTOs or PLCs, as we can see in the figure. Here the RTOs, that is the remote terminal units, are the PLCs. Next we have to go with the another question on this SCADA, that is the software. The question is explain SCADA software. So software architecture, most of the servers are used for multitasking and real-time database. The servers are responsible for data gathering and handling. Here the diagram is little bit complicated, so I am not going to display the diagram because this question is always asked for 5 marks. So we will go with the explanation which will be sufficient for 5 marks. The SCADA system consists of software program to provide trending, diagnostic data, and manage information such as scheduled maintenance procedure, logistic information, detailed schematic for a particular sensor or machine, and expert system troubleshooting guides. This means that the operator can see schematic representation of the plant being controlled. So, this display generally will be placed in the control room. For example, alarm checking, calculations, logging and archiving, polling controllers on a set of parameters. These are typically connected to the server. The detailed structure of software SCADA I am not showing in the diagram. It is a little bit complicated. So, in brief, we can say that the software performs following function. The SCADA software performs the following functions, that is data acquisition, data communication, information, data presentation and monitoring or control. So, these are the functions performed by the software of the SCADA. Next question is one of the important question, and this question is also asked for 5 marks. Explain the method of SCADA to interface with the PLC. So, we have to write the steps because this question is asked for 5 marks. So, we write this in stepwise. So, what are the different steps which are used to interface or to connect the SCADA with the PLCs? So, following are the steps which we use to connect or interface between PLC to SCADA. So, what are the basic steps that we are going to discuss? First step is, first establish the physical communication connection. Industrial Ethernet, for example, we can use Ethernet. The communications or network port of the PC will connect the wiring which connects to the PLC. Once again, the communications or network port of the PC will connect to wiring which connects to the PLC. The next step is to assure that both systems can now communicate with each other using whatever protocol that have been selected for particular purpose. Now, here there are different SCADA developed by different companies and PLCs are also manufactured by different companies. So, protocols are very, very important. The next step is to assure that both systems can now communicate with each other using whatever protocol that have been selected for particular purpose. So, this was the second step. Finally, need to configure the SCADA database to gather the information across the network from the PLC database. We know that PLCs are the RTUs. So, this is typically done by the having names or addresses in the PLC map to typically similar names within the SCADA. So, if the addresses are correctly mapped, then only the communication will be done between the PLC with the SCADA. Once that is all done, information may flow back and forth between PLC and SCADA, and various control aspects may be programmed into the SCADA to execute on the PLC. Similar information collected by PLC updates the SCADA, and in this way the flow between the PLC and SCADA takes place. Next question, which is asked for 5 marks. So, depending on the generation, this question will be asked. If they are asking 5 marks question, then they will ask as a single generation explanation. But if the question they will be asking in the question paper for 10 marks, that time they will come by 2 generations, or they will ask the explanation in detail. So, we will first discuss for 5 marks question. So, explain first generation, or which is called as monolithic architecture of SCADA. So, here first we have to draw the diagram We can write the definition of SCADA also, what is SCADA, and what are the different classification based on generation or the architecture. These are classified into 4 till now, that is first generation, second generation, third generation and fourth generation. So the architecture for first generation, which is the monolithic generation architecture of SCADA. So here we see that SCADA master is there and the RTO is very simple block diagram. So first we will draw the block diagram, then we will go with the explanation. So first generation monolithic or early SCADA system. The architecture of first generation monolithic or the early SCADA system we have shown in the diagram. So mini computers are used either for computing the SCADA system. In earlier times, during the time of first generation, monolithic SCADA systems were developed where the common network services were not available. So hence these were independent systems without having any connectivity to other systems. So all the remote terminals units sites would connect to a backup mainframe system for achieving the first generation SCADA system, which was used in case of failure for the primary mainframe system. The functions of the monolithic SCADA system in the early first generation were limited to monitoring sensors in the system and flagging any operation in case of surpassing program alarm level. Hence, the first generation SCADA are standalone system with virtually no connectivity to the other systems. Communication protocols developed by vendors of the RTU equipments not feasible to intermingle other types of data traffic with RTO communication. Very limited connectivity to the SCADA master station by system vendor. Use of two identically equipped mainframe, a primary and a backup. Only two units were used, that is SCADA master and the RTOs. So these are the points we have to write. Next question is explain second, or it is also called as distributed generation architecture of SCADA. So for this second generation we have to draw the diagram. So we can see the different units and their connections in the diagram. In the second generation, the sharing of control functions is distributed across the multiple systems connected to each other using local area network. So LAN is used, which is shown in the diagram. The connection for communication is shown in the diagram. Hence, they were based or they were termed as distributed SCADA system. These individual stations were used to share real-time information and command processing for performing control tasks to trip the alarm levels of possible problems. So, in the cost and size of station were reduced compared to the first generation system, as each system of second generation was responsible for performing a particular task with reduced size and cost. In the first generation, the size was little bit more and cost was also more because a single unit were used, but here little both more units can be controlled over a area. But even in the second generation system also the network protocols were not standardized. The security of the SCADA installation was determined by a very few people beyond the developers, as the protocols were very proprietary, but generally the security of the SCADA installation was ignored. So the important points we have written here. So here second generation SCADA we can summarize as vendor control, proprietary environmental, improvement in system, miniaturization, LAN technology to distribute the processing across multiple systems, distribution of system functions across multiple systems, networks not capable of reaching beyond the limits of local environment. Vendors creates its own network protocols. External communication networks were limited to RTU protocols. Improve the redundancy and the reliability of the system. So these were the important points we have to note down for the second generation, that is distributed SCADA system. Next question, which is asked again for 5 marks, combined it will be for 10 marks. So that is about the third generation architecture of SCADA. Explain third, it is also called as network generation architecture of SCADA. So we have to draw the diagram. Here we can see that WAN, wide area network, is used, communication server is there, RTUs are there, network RTU is there, SCADA master is there. So the improvement in the second generation is done for the third generation. So third generation network SCADA system we are showing in this figure. The current SCADA systems are generally networked and communicate using wide area network, that is the WAN system, over data lines or phones. These systems use Ethernet or optical fiber connections for transmitting data between the nodes frequencies. These third generation SCADA systems use programmable logic controllers. So apart from first generation, second generation, third generation has been improved and developed. So these third generation SCADA systems use programmable logic controllers for monitoring and adjusting the routine flagging operations only in case of major decisions required. The first and the second generation SCADA system are limited to single site networks or single building called a sealed system. In this system we cannot have any risk compared to the third generation SCADA system, which are connected to the internet, causing the security risk. There will be several parallel working distributed SCADA system under a single supervisor in network architecture. Hence, the third generation SCADA are open system architecture, multiple network system sharing master station functions, utilizing open standards and protocols, distribute SCADA functionally across a WAN. Open standards eliminate multiple limitations, easier to connect to third party peripheral device to the system or network. Use of WAN protocols for communication between the master station and communication equipment, and disaster survivability. Next, the question is asked for 5 marks, that is justify the interfacing of SCADA with PLC. So it is very important that SCADA is connected with the PLC or interfaced with the PLC, because PLC forms the RTUs for the SCADA system. So some of the 2 points we can discuss here. So what is PLC and what is SCADA, and to make communication between the SCADA and PLC, the flow of the signals, and to control a particular area of the industry, we have to interface SCADA with PLC. So a PLC, that is the programmable logic controller, is a microprocessor running special software. That software has communication elements, some of which are accessible by internal database. SCADA software typically runs the standard PC or the servers. It too has communication elements, some of which are accessible to its own internal database. Information may flow back and forth between PLC and SCADA, and various control aspects may be programmed into SCADA to execute on the PLC. And similarly, information collected by PLC updates the SCADA, typically the graphical or graphic elements. So there is a need of interfacing of the PLC and the SCADA.